Following the immense success of Angry Birds throughout its first year that we've discussed, let's just say extensively, Rovio looked to continue their content update strategy with the addition of a 5th level pack. Given the development turnaround for their previous updates, it was estimated that this update would be released near the end of September or the beginning of October. And with Halloween just around the corner, this was the perfect opportunity to theme the episode around the beloved holiday, deviating quite significantly from the previous updates. As the project grew in scope, Rovio chose to spin the episode off into its own game called Angry Birds Halloween, knowing they could cash in with the superfans by publishing a second Angry Birds application. Complicating matters, however, was Electronic Arts' acquisition of Shillingo, the publisher of the original Angry Birds app. This did not deter Rovio though, as Halloween became their first foray into self-publishing, which would go on to become the standard for future Rovio titles. Angry Birds Halloween launched into the App Store on October 21st, 2010, featuring 45 Halloween-themed levels with identical gameplay mechanics as the original. Not a surprise given it was developed for the original app, though unlike the original, levels had a spooky forest backdrop with an ominous harvest moon illuminating the scenes. Pigs would occasionally hide within carved pumpkins, serving as extra defense from the torpedoing avians. Levels also contained standalone carved pumpkins, which yielded 3,000 additional points when smashed, often being the key to achieving 3 stars. This initial version came with cutscenes in keeping with the original quartet, establishing the pig's ghostly plot to snatch the eggs yet again. Rovio CEO Mike Gill had explained, "With Angry Birds Halloween, we wanted to provide our fans with a special treat. In addition to this new experience, we will also keep providing continuous free updates for Angry Birds." On the surface, what Head had to say regarding the future of Angry Birds didn't mean too much. After all, nobody was expecting content updates to cease for the original app, but I would like to point out that he never specified which Angry Birds he was specifically referring to, because on December 1st, 2010, Halloween would be relaunched as Angry Birds Seasons thanks to a second holiday-themed level pack called Seasons Greetings, implying that the app had become the new home of future seasonal Angry Birds episodes. Meanwhile, others within Rovio were hard at work with their first wave of licensees, tasked with bringing the now world-famous Angry Bird characters to store shelves. Commonwealth was well into development of their initial wave of merchandise, with their line of plush toys being the most hotly anticipated items of the 2010 holiday season. Seasonal variations of these toys were not exactly a thought at that point, but after meteoric sales throughout their first few months in production, Rovio and Commonwealth knew that this year, that being 2011 of course, they would not miss their opportunity. February saw Commonwealth try their hand at creating some accessories, though it is unknown whether these were inspired by existing artwork or were created arbitrarily. A Dracula Red render would later feature on t-shirts, such as this I Want More Candy version, but its origins are unknown. The blues and Chuck don't seem reminiscent of any existing artwork, leading me to believe the red was purely coincidental. In fact, the sample may have inspired the actual Dracula Red render, not the other way around. Other concepts thrown around during this time were a Frankenstein bomb, notably with a hairpiece, as well as a mummy Matilda. Alliteration just feels right, agree? This way, we had all 6 of the original characters represented. These iterations of Bomb and Matilda were never sampled though, but their aesthetic would stick around as development continued. 2 pigs were also created that, unlike the birds, were directly inspired by those seen in the game. Both were adorned with pumpkin attire, one with a shaven top as a hat, and the other literally inside one with circular cutouts for his eyes. The lone surviving sample shows that this accessory and the pig were not inseparable, as the pumpkin shell was designed so you could remove what was just a basic Minion Pig plush. This means that you can put any plush inside, but would have also resulted in some, let's just say, funny eBay listings in modern times. In response, Rovio had their artists create a handful of renders to show Commonwealth precisely what they were looking for. For the birds, they suggested a devil red, a witch blue, a wizard Chuck, a Frankenstein bomb, a skeleton Matilda, a mummy Hal, and a cyborg Terrence. They would be balanced out by 3 pigs, a ghost pig, a witch pig, and a pumpkin pig. 5 of these 10 would move along in development, as the first round of samples would be completed in May. Honestly surprises me that they didn't bother with the others, as I've been told repeatedly that they were looking to create as many different toys as possible, given the sheer demand at the time. Regardless, these 5 samples passed inspection and were slated to hit shelves well in time for the Halloween season. Fans discovered the set via its pre-order listing on Toywiz.com in August, but what they saw was not what you'd expect. This Halloween set was advertised as a set of 5 consisting of a Devil Red, Yellow Wizard, Pumpkin Piglet, Blue Witch, and Ghost. Just Ghost, I suppose, not Ghost Pig, apparently. Wait, the Blue Witch, though amongst early concepts from Rovio, did not make it past ideation. So why was it listed as being a part of the set? It wasn't even shown in the image, which itself is perhaps more perplexing than the title. These are the 5 that should have been there, but despite having photographed the actual samples months ago, all but Bomb and the Pumpkin Pig were pure photoshops. The photos of Red, Chuck, and the Ghost Pig must date back to the beginning of development before the samples were even created. But whoever put the images together had access to the finalized Bomb, so what are we doing here? This is the photo they should have used if they wanted to keep the title. This sheet features the original Witch Blue Photoshop and looks just about how we all imagined it would. Or just title the listing correctly. Almost as if they're trying to create mystique. Feels personal. By their release in September, the listing would be corrected to show the actual toys we would receive. Though curiously, we were now dealing with a set of 4. Clearly, by the time pre-orders opened, somebody finally realized that Ghost Pig's attire was far too reminiscent of those worn by the Ku Klux Klan. I'm gonna get demonetized for that one. A historic terrorist organization. Maybe we don't want our children playing with this. But it's Rovio's fault, the plush is true to the render. Maybe not underneath, but who's keeping score? Thus, he was quickly pulled from production, never to be seen again. Not that we even saw what he actually looked like to begin with. All we ever had to work with was the goofy-looking Photoshop posted on Toywiz. Luckily for us, Rovio let us see the plush in all of its glory about a year later in September on their Instagram page. To promote the launch of the Bad Piggies spin-off game, Rovio posted an image with the caption, "Looks like the Piggy meetup got a surprise guest." The surprise guest refers to the monster Terrence plush who crashed the Piggies' party. But ironically, the plush actually crashing the party was the sample Ghost Pig. That clearly resembled the Toywiz listing from the year prior. Doubt anybody put 2 and 2 together back then, but we plush collectors eventually put the pieces together. His whereabouts today within the Rovio HQ are unknown. All that aside, they were out, and could be purchased off the aforementioned Toywiz, shop.angrybirds.com, and of course anywhere toys were sold. Each were around $15.99 for the 5-inch variation. Makes sense given you're paying a few extra dollars for the accessories. You could also find them in 8-inch of course if you'd rather have those. If you scoured retail, you might have been able to find variations with sound chips, though they are exceedingly rare. This is because the vast majority of these were sold via the online Angry Birds shop and in Walmart, neither of which carried toys with sound at the time. Above Red's eyebrows, we find 2 black horns, and around back, a devil tail in place of the black tail feathers to complete the look. Chuck's modification was a bit more extravagant, as he now donned a shiny star-stickered wizard hat that is actually quite large compared to typical plush accessories. Bomb's plush was embroidered with silver stitches and had plastic screws protruding at the side of his head. The Minion Pig simply featured that sliced pumpkin hat they initially conceived back in February. This accessory remains the only faithful of the 4, naturally being a pig with a hat of course. Pretty easy to find the source material. Instead of a hang tag mimicking the original Angry Birds app icon, the Trick or Treat set was the first to receive a seasonal variation that mimicked the original Halloween app icon. For those rare instances where they appeared at non-Walmart retailers, there was a chance you could find them perched in the exceedingly rare Trick or Treat PDQ. The first production run for this set is signified by the date code G11, indicating they were produced as far back as July 2011. This means that the vast majority of these Halloween plushies will have 2nd-gen Rovio mobile tags, though depending on where you live, you may see the later editions with 3rd or 4th-gen tags. Speaking of which, starting with the F12 Canadian production run, that's June 2012 by the way, the HK86 Commonwealth factory officially switched over to making the redesigned variation of Chuck. This edition of the set was only released in countries that ordered it for the 2012 and 2013 calendar years. And the only 2 documented countries that did so were Canada in 2012 via Red Planet, and Russia in 2013 via General Freight. For my Finnish viewers, you guys just missed out on getting the redesigned Wizard Chuck. Ammo Toys ordered an E12 production run, not an F12, so you guys missed out by 1 month. 1 or 2 samples were created for the 2013 New York Toy Fair, which I have here, but otherwise, if you want to complete the set, I'd advise scouring Canadian and Russian resale sites. Chuck was not the only plush to receive a redesign for 2012. The blues are right there alongside him, but that's irrelevant for the purpose of this video, right? What could that possibly have to do with... oh wait, Black Friday 2023. Last year, I posted the Black Friday edition of the Commonwealth collection, revealing 10 never-before-seen samples to coincide with the sale promotion on my eBay shop. Amongst this batch was the infamous Witch Blue, a plush we had speculated about for well over a decade thanks to its mention on Toywiz all those years back. But now we see it in the plush, but it wasn't how most of us envisioned it. You'd expect them to use the Death Stare design, given the cross-eyed version did not even exist until April 2012. But this assumption discounts the possibility that Commonwealth went back into the archives and revived the original Witch Blue concept as a potential 5th member for the set for 2012. But before you go on imagining a world where Witch Blues line the shelves alongside the original 4, let me just say this. Unless Commonwealth wanted to make another large run of toys for 2012, Witch Blue would have been a regional exclusive plush. Like I said, only a small handful of countries even received the later production batches of the set. Either way, it would feel like only 12 copies exist anyways, so ultimately, what's the difference? And so, there you have it. A comprehensive overview of the Commonwealth Angry Birds Trick or Treat set. Despite being the first season set, I don't think I'm going out on a limb and saying this remains the best one. Each character has a unique accessory, they're all quite fitting, and the lore is quite extensive compared to the other season sets. Second to only the Season's Greetings limited edition set in my estimation. And with all that said, if you have any comments, questions, or complaints, you can let me know in the comment section below. And with that I say, peace out.